folks, I'm Glenn.
I'm Maureen.
Today it's homemade fire starters using recycled materials.
And we have a question for you.
Right here on Cabin Life. You know, in these challenging times when climate change is in the media spotlight, we're trying to be more mindful of what we use, what we consume, how we dispose of those things. And in a previous video, we had mentioned that as we go through our daily lives, we're trying to just be aware of the things that we use and what we can do to mitigate the effects of climate change and pollution, and just do it in our own little corner of the world and do our part.
In trying to reduce the amount of things that get disposed of, like plastics particularly, I find it begins with shopping, what I buy. I try to buy things that are contained in glass as opposed to plastic. And then we also recycle. I go to yard sales and pick up different things like these candles for Glenn to use in his homemade fire starters.
And recycling is a great way to reuse materials, for a secondary purpose or for a second time.
Right. And it's like with the paper towels that Glenn uses. Well, I'm working in the kitchen or around the house. I have paper towels that aren't really dirty. They're used for wiping water off the counter or drying my hands or wiping off the cast iron after we finish oiling it. I put those all into a baggie one at a time and save them up for when Glenn needs them to make his homemade fire starters.
So we work with fire around the off-grid cabin and the homestead. Pretty much every day we have a fire, and either using it for cooking or for warmth or just for sitting around, just for having a fire. That's our cabin television, our entertainment. So it's really nice to have the fires. Now, we don't always use fire starters. We only use them, for instance, if we're out on the trail and there's wet wood. The fire starters really come in handy for the warmth and even cooking. So,
yeah, and they're small enough that they can pack nice and tightly into the backpack.
Or maybe we don't even have any wood at all. So the fire starters do come in handy for, getting some water on the boil, that kind of a thing. So we're going to make those fire starters today. So using these fire starters from recycled materials, we think is probably a better move than actually going out to the store and buying materials that are flammable and, using fire starter that way. So there's plenty of ways of making do-it-yourself fire starters. And one of the ways that I've learned to do it is by using recycled wax, vegetable oil, paper towels. And today I've got another ingredient that we're going to use in the recycling department. And we're going to add that to our fire starters today. So I've got a bunch of toilet paper rolls and paper towel rolls, cardboard, that we're going to recycle, and that should make them burn even better.
This is a project that should be done outdoors and under adult supervision.
Yeah, I'm burning these things and making and working with wax, so adult supervision is here. It'd be a shame to see all these materials go to waste and end up in the landfill site. I figure we might as well try to recycle them, use them. So we're going to be using these old candle pieces and recycling this wax so that we can make our fire starters today. We've got the old vegetable oil as well, and the paper towel containers, paper towel rolls.
Be careful with the fire. It's wax. It's hot.
Okay, so we have our hot wax. We have our recycled paper towels here. And we also have our cardboard containers from the toilet paper rolls, paper towel rolls. The wax has been melted. A good idea if you could pre-chop the wax up and then put it in to melt it. Melts a lot faster that way. And we've got our old vegetable oil that we're going to use as well. So let's make these up. As you can see, these are just gently used, and they do have oil on them, the cooking oil. They've already been soaked in the cooking oil, just gently, and don't need a lot of the cooking oil on them. So what we do is we just take a couple of, take a layer at a time even, which is good. Put that in to the hot wax. I'll try not to make too much of a mess here. Fold it in half, like so. Do the next one. Or let's do 5. And just take them, roll them up. I like to kind of roll them up fairly tight so that there's not much oxygen in there, and that way just the outside edge and hopefully just the top kind of burns like a candle, right? Roll that up. As the hot wax squeezes out of it. It's kind of messy, right? But so you want something on the table to protect everything. And then I'm just going to dip this in the wax. And then place this inside. Down to the bottom here. Dip that in. Give it another layer of wax in the bottom. There we go. So let's see how these burn. And I'll make up some more. And we'll do a time lapse. We'll see how these burn. And as I make up more, and we'll just see how much time that we get out. So using these fire starters, it's a good way of keeping them from the landfill site in our minds.
Now we have a question for you. What do you think? Is it better to recycle all this material into DIY fire starters and burn the materials? Or is it better to put them into the landfill site and let that material decompose?
So the question is, use them once and dump them, put them in a landfill site, or use them for a second time and burn them and have some cooking heat and warmth from it. So leave a comment below if you will. Should be interesting to read your replies.
Read your comments and let's get a little bit of discussion on this.
So this is a small one that I made up earlier. Let's see how these burn. These homemade fire starters are great for outside. They give off a great light. They act as a torch. They burn for quite a while, as you can see. We'll give you the total burn time coming right up.
They're definitely not for indoor use.
They're really good in the wind, and they pack away in a small space. And being made with wax, they're waterproof, so they burn in the rain. And they're great for emergency use too. It's great to have these long-burning fire starters. You know, things can change, and our behavior can also change. You know, there was a time when we'd burn all kinds of stuff and hardly give a thought to the effects of burning these fire starters. So we now wonder, what is less harmful to the environment? Dumping them and only using them once, or using them twice and burning them? We'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Well, that's all for this one. I'm Glenn.
I'm Maureen.
We'll see you next time. Over and out.
Take care.